Alright, so custom maps don't really get the attention they deserve apart from YouTubers uploading raw gameplay, so every now and then I'm going to try and make videos where I shine some light on some real good maps. I also did a video on another pretty cool map that isn't well known, I'll put a link to that somewhere. But today, I'm going to talk about an absolute classic, one of the most popular custom maps out there. It's had like a billion different versions, and also a bunch of shitty ripoffs, which is how you know something is good. It's pretty much made its own genre that wouldn't exist if custom zombies never existed. The map I'm talking about is of course Shrek Zombies. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's Octagonal Ascension, baby. Roll the intro. Alright, so because this map is such a big classic, I'm going to talk about the World of War version and then see what changes the Black Ops 3 version had and see if that's like better or worse. If you ask anyone who's played this map to describe it in one word, they're gonna say something like it's hard, or it's painful, or it's torture. And like, yeah, they'd be completely right. This map does not fuck around at all. Right from round 1, wait actually no, hold on, there isn't even rounds, it's time based. Which means there's no breaks, they just get stronger and faster even if you aren't getting points and kills and shit. So it's very easy to get overwhelmed without escaping the tiny ass starting room. Oh, and if you fall off, you're gonna die. So pretty much you get good or just get lucky with the drops and you quickly get out of the spawn room or you just die. And I'm not even kidding. I remember playing this years ago for the first time and just getting curb stomped in the spawn over and over again. But to be fair, if you're playing this with 3 or 4 people, the spawn room becomes piss easy. But the rest of the map is pretty much the opposite. Instead of this tiny ass room where you gotta make tight trains, once you pass the first door, the map turns into these long stretches where you just need a run and gun at all times. Because after like 5 minutes maybe, they start to sprint at such an ungodly speed. Like, hold on, look at this shit. They one hit you if you don't have jug. So you gotta run, and if you can't run from them, you just gotta shoot. There's also these juggernaut zombies that spawn in every so often, but they kinda look like their back is broken or something. It's fucking hilarious. But speaking of shooting, some of the wall guns are okay depending on the strategy you want to run. Like, you want something to just headshot with? Yeah, sure. You want a points gun? Yeah, there you go. But what's really wild is when you get to the mystery box, they have like every gun ever in the entire world, and all the Pack-a-Punch versions. So if you want to take the gamble, the payoff can sometimes be huge. But let's talk perks, okay? They got all the Black Ops 1 perks and Vulture's Aid. Vulture's Aid is really weird as the second perk you come across because it's kind of OP, but overall I don't mind it being there because it is kind of expensive. And you're probably not going to want to go back to that floor later, so it kind of balances itself in that way. The rest of the perks are in a bit of a weird, almost random order, but it kind of works, I guess. Jug's near the middle, and obviously right at the top you have PhD, because, you know, fall damage. Which takes me to the next thing. If you get to the top, it turns into a game of saving up 1 billion points so you can buy the ending. Even though you have PhD, you can still mess this up really easily if you fall, because they're in front and behind you, and you just find yourself like slowly getting overwhelmed because it's hard to get back up. One of the best strats, apart from like camping at the top, is the Pack-a-Punch floor, which weirdly you can run trains in. Another thing I need to talk about is jank. Okay, this map is janky. I mean, come on, it's a World of War custom map. Like, the game's 1,000,000 years old. If you jump near edges or like over corners, the zombies just kind of stop in place for a second. It's not super game breaking, and in fact I'm not ashamed to say that I use that sometimes. And if you prone at perks, sometimes you just get sent to the Shadow Realm for no reason. Another thing just off the top of my head is that Vulture's Aid green spots kinda just don't work sometimes. But then there's the Black Ops 3 version. How does that play? The short answer is it's a bit easier but a lot more fun. But you'll notice there's a few versions of Octagonal 1BO3, and I think the most faithful one is V2. If you do the one that's just called Octagonal Ascension, it's a complete joke. The whole map is about as hard as buried. I guess one of the main changes is obviously the guns, but like early game you mostly have the same shit. You've got the semi-auto, the SMG, the full auto, and then the box. So like pretty much the same shit in spirit, but now the box doesn't give you Pack-a-Punch guns anymore. Alright yo, I'm halfway through editing this video and I just realised I had to add this in because somehow I forgot to mention the most important thing, which is that in BO3 the zombies are way slower and they don't do as much damage. And speaking of guns, double Pack-a-Punch is in the map. It makes late game way easier than it is in World at War. And being honest, I kinda would have preferred it not being there just for the sake of balancing. And this is really off topic, but if you decide to play the map, don't ever Pack-a-Punch the goddamn M1, okay? For some reason, it actually gets weaker. That's the only gun that does this as far as I know, but it's really dumb. Okay, that's really off topic though. Quick revive has been moved, so now there's 3 spawns at the start. I'll let you be the judge of whether or not you like this change, but in all honesty, I barely noticed a difference. It kinda takes the same amount of time to save up 2k and buy the first door. Another big thing is that this map now has Shangri-La bosses. I like the napalm in Shang, and I like the napalm here. You can still outrun him, so you can just do that, but if you want to bait him into blowing up, you get a little source of infinite damage that blocks zombies coming at you from there. It's really good game design, and I think it works well here because of the narrow paths. The one issue I have with this, and it doesn't happen often, but when it does, it pisses me off so much. Sometimes they spawn right in front of you and instantly blow up. Like the 1 second you're fine and then suddenly you just die for no reason, and it's the end of your run. Again, this doesn't happen all the time, and thankfully I didn't actually get footage of that happening, but if someone had that happen to them and just said, nah, fuck this map, I kinda get it. You also have the Shrieker zombie. He's alright. He's not as interesting as the Napalm, but he's whatever. Vulture's Aid has also been swapped out for Widow's Wine, but Widow's Wine is all the way at the top. Personally, I don't give a shit, because I always just rush to buy doors instead. But the biggest change that makes this map easier, but also really fun, is the drops. Instead of the regular garbage drops, you got good shit like infinite ammo, speed boost, zombie blood, and a fucking pack-a-punch drop. And oh yeah, the death machine. So if you get lucky with 1 or 2 drops, sometimes you can just go on a complete rampage and get like 10 more drops, which is really hype and fun as fuck, but it definitely makes the map way easier. I guess I've said everything I can about this map, so pretty much I'd recommend it to anyone who wants a good challenge but for some reason hasn't played this already. It's also always a good laugh when you're playing this with friends. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. If you like this style of video, then there's a link somewhere on screen for another one I did. It's definitely worth checking out. Oh, and one more thing. I'm going to try to upload like way more often, which is kind of why I took such a big break since the last video. So make sure you subscribe unless you're a fucking loser, and see you in the next one.